The test was invisible to most. It wasn't announced on television. It wasn't debated in Parliament. There was no press conference, no fanfare, no moment where anyone declared that a test was even happening. But Iraq just passed it, and the results are now visible in every corner of the country's financial system. The question is whether you understand what the test was and why passing it changes everything. Let me take you inside what just happened. On February 16, 2026, the international credit rating agency Standard & Poor's released its latest assessment of Iraq's economy. The headline was familiar. Iraq's sovereign credit rating was affirmed at B with a stable outlook. But, buried in the details, was the evidence that Iraq had just passed a test that most people didn't know was coming. S&P explicitly commended Iraq's stable economic indicators amid expectations of increased oil production and declining inflation in 2026. The agency confirmed that the Iraqi economy is steadily progressing towards strengthening fiscal sustainability despite regional challenges. This is not the language of a country struggling to keep its head above water. This is the language of a country passing a stress test administered by the world's most respected financial authorities. The test had multiple components. First, the fiscal test. S&P noted that the government successfully implemented spending control policies, directly reducing the fiscal deficit to 2.5% of GDP in 2025, a significant improvement from 2.7%. In 2024, this matters because fiscal discipline is the foundation upon which currency stability is built. Second, the reserves test. Iraq is expected to maintain average international reserves of approximately $100 billion until 2029, representing nearly 35% of GDP. This figure far exceeds the size of the public sector's external debt, bolstering international confidence in the country's financial solvency. Just days earlier, on February 10th, Central Bank Governor Ali Alaq confirmed that Iraq's foreign reserves exceed $100 billion, including more than 76 tons of gold. Third, the inflation test. S&P reported that inflation rates in Iraq remain low and stable compared to regional standards, with expectations that the average annual inflation rate will decline to 1.9% in 2025 after 2.6% in 2024. This is the mark of a central bank that understands its primary mission. The test was not just about the numbers, it was about the systems, and Iraq's new systems just passed on February 9th. Just 1 week before the S&P report, Governor Alaq stood beside Prime Minister Masroor Barzani in Erbil and launched ePsûle, a unified electronic payment platform for the Kurdistan region. Alaq stated, "Everyone now understands that handling transactions with cash alongside complex economic demands is no longer sustainable. Establishing a secure and transparent electronic financial system is essential to restoring citizens' confidence in the banking sector." Alaq emphasized that the Prime Minister personally supervises these reforms, monitors their progress, and ensures they move in the right direction. He called ePsûle a strategic step toward a digital economy and stressed that electronic payments are not just an option, they are a necessity for increasing transparency and financial capacity across the country. The platform allows citizens to pay government bills instantly through mobile applications, digital wallets, and partner banks. It operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with no additional fees. For decades, government payments meant physical cash, long queues, and opaque transactions. Now they mean transparency, efficiency, and records. After the launch, Prime Minister Barzani met with Governor Alaq and representatives of Iraqi and Kurdistan region banks to discuss the next phase, the My Account project and the expansion of digital financial services. Barzani expressed his appreciation for the central bank's ongoing reforms aimed at strengthening Iraq's financial system. This is the infrastructure that the S&P report recognized. This is the execution that passed the test. The test also involved the ASYCUDA customs system. Alaq confirmed in his February 10th interview that the government is proceeding with applying the tariff, applying the ASYCUDA system, and applying the advanced customs declaration. He called the measures beneficial beyond fiscal gains. S&P specifically cited these digital systems as contributing to stability. Now, let me give you the market reality. The official central bank rate stands at 1,320 dinars to the dollar, unchanged since February 2023. The parallel market has been volatile, with the dollar reaching approximately 153,000 dinars per $100 in Baghdad in mid-February, before settling around 151,200. This gap represents the friction of transition, the premium that the shadow economy demands for operating outside the formal system. But here is the evidence that the test is being passed in real time. The central bank's foreign reserves remain strong at over $100 billion. The gold reserves now exceed 174 tons, with steady accumulation throughout recent years. The fiscal deficit is shrinking. Inflation is under control. The digital infrastructure is being built. The customs system is being unified. The banking sector is being restructured. Alaq explained the philosophy in his interview. If we link the topic of changing the exchange rate to the budget deficit, it means we have set a shaky foundation for the future of the national currency in Iraq, he said. Stability is a fundamental condition for achieving economic and investment movement. He also addressed the 80% of currency outside banks, revealing that more than 80% of Iraq's 100 trillion dinar money supply exists outside the banking system, primarily due to tax evasion and non-disclosure in the trade sector. But he also provided the solution. If money owners feel reassured about the existence of a fair and transparent tax system, they will bring their money and deposit it in banks. The test was about reassurance, and Iraq just proved that it can build the systems that create it. The S&P report also noted political context, acknowledging that following November's elections, Iraq has yet to form a government. The agency assumes moderate fiscal deficits averaging 3% of GDP through 2029, with the government currently operating under a monthly spending rule. But despite the political uncertainty, the economic fundamentals are holding. The test was not easy. It required discipline, execution, and the political will to push through reforms despite protests. On February 8, hundreds of traders protested in Baghdad against the new customs tariffs, but the government did not back down. The ASYCUDA system continues to roll out. The digital platforms continue to launch. The banking reforms continue to advance. Iraq just passed a test most people didn't know was coming. The test of whether it could build the infrastructure for a modern economy while navigating political turbulence and regional challenges. The evidence is now in the S&P report, in the ePsûle launch, in the customs unification, in the gold accumulation, in the reserve strength. The test is passed. The question is whether you understand what comes next.